Hey everyone, Dylan here, and in today's video I'm going to be telling a story about how I got into a bus wreck when I was a kid. So, about in late 2008, early 2009, in winter, I was about 12 or 13. I can't exactly remember, but I was 12 or 13 and it was a nasty winter day. And of course, many schools and parents said we shouldn't have went out that day, like that school should have been canceled, and our school definitely should have canceled, and it didn't. The roads were really icy and really bad. And so we were just kind of like going along. I was sitting up in the front seat, because in the bus, on a normal school bus, there's all these different seats from left to right. I was on the first seat to the right. I was sitting in groups of three in the thing. I was like, of course, on the outside. I was sitting next to my friend because I got on the bus and saw that he was in the front seat with his brother. And so I was like, hey, and there was barely room for that. The one thing about our school bus in the morning was it was way too packed. We're talking like 3 to every seat. It was so cramped, and I think even at some point, some people had to stand. So it was really bad and really weird. I feel like we definitely should have had more, like they should have had another bus take other kids so we had more room. But anyways, that's just a side tangent about my morning bus to junior high. I can't say that this was when I was in 7th grade. I don't remember my age, like I said. It's like 12 or 13, but I was 100% in 7th grade. So I was in junior high. And so I remember just sitting there driving. I would have like an MP3 player, a little MP3 player. I would listen to it while we were on the bus. And I was just watching it and looking, and then I think I had one earphone out or something, or I was doing something, but I know I might have had both in. But I just remember hearing like the bus driver, like I don't remember what he said, maybe a curse word or something, and kind of like a grunt. He's like, "Urgh," I just seen him turn the wheel, and then next thing I know, I go flying. And so, all I remember from when I went flying and I saw like my friend hanging on the end of the seat, and then that's where I like probably blacked out and everything went away. But what had ended up happening was someone, when we were driving past a road, a younger kid driving to school, I believe. She was a teenager. I don't know how old she was, but she didn't stop soon enough at a stop sign, and because the roads were so icy, she slid past and hit our bus, and then we ended up flipping and sliding into a field. Pretty great distance, glass breaking, a whole bunch of problems. I believe my friend fell on me, by the way, like who was holding on to the seat. I think he fell on me and ended up causing damage. But from after that, like I said, I went flying. I saw like stuff go down. I went flying, blacked out, woke up. And when I woke up, I was still kind of out of it. And I just like stood up. And funny thing about the situation is I had my headphone. I had one headphone in my ear still hanging down with my MP3 player, and so I got to keep my MP3 player. It was really cool. So I just like kind of took it, wrapped it up, and put it back in my pocket. My first thing was probably to run and escape the bus, but no, I gotta make sure my MP3 player's fine. Can't get another one of those because I was a stupid kid, but I was also out of it. And after I did that, this all might have played out in slow motion to how dazed I was, but after I did that, I looked over and saw that kids were escaping. It's not like everything was in a panic, but I saw like, because at the top of a bus, like there's an opening for an escape through the top of the bus, and that's where people were getting kids out. There were two people helping people out. And so I saw that and I went over there because I was like, yep, that's where I go to escape, you know. But very minor thoughts when I was like going and actually doing all this because it hadn't hit. But so we go outside. The bus is, flipped on its side and pretty crazy. We end up getting all the students out. There were some injuries. It was super cold, so we were sitting there freezing. But one thing to note, I felt fine until once they helped me out of the bus. Like I had pain. Like shoot right into my like left shoulder area, and I didn't know what it was. I didn't know if I broke a shoulder. I had no idea what it was, but I knew that I was in great pain, and we were sitting there waiting for help to arrive, and there were many kids who did get hurt, but luckily no one died. No one died in this bus wreck. It was a miracle that nothing worse could have happened. The bus didn't explode or catch on fire or anything like that. Like anything could have happened. Things could have been a lot worse. Like I said, no one died. The worst injury, I think they told me I was the second worst injury. But the first was like this kid. He like had to get like plastic surgery or whatever on his face because glass from the window like slashed his face or whatever. I don't know exactly where or the things about it, but yeah, it like ended up scratching his face. And so his was the worst. Mine was the second worst from what I was told, but luckily, other than that, there wasn't anything worse than that. And we ended up, my sister, I have a sister, I have a couple siblings, but my sister, my older sister, was on the bus as well when this all happened, so she was with me. And so, some people help arrive. While we wait for ambulances, they brought another bus, and then me and my sister were so scared and traumatized, we're like, we're not getting on another bus. And we like refused to get on another bus. We were like traumatized at this point. So then this cop ended up letting us sit in his truck so we could stay warm while an ambulance came. And then I said I was in great pain in my left shoulder area, and so the only time I took an ambulance, but yeah, they put me on an ambulance, and I don't remember if my sister came on with me or not. I don't remember, to be honest, but we ended up just going there. They transferred me, they carried me in. It was a weird experience, to be honest, but I remember it, just carrying me on the thing. They carried me into a bedroom, or a hospital room, and put me on the bed and made me warm, and this really sucked. It hurt. I was tired, the morning. They ended up taking me in to go see x-rays. It really sucked. One thing that sucked is I had a hoodie, and this was back in the day where I had just the pullover hoodies. I didn't have a zip hoodie, and they had me, luckily I didn't have to take it off, but they had me, they wanted me to do x-rays and they're like, can you lift your shoulder up? And I was like, no, it freaking hurts. I can't. So they put this like foam thing under it so they can get a good x-ray. And so bottom line is they take me back and they like analyze it or whatever. And what ended up happening was I broke my left collarbone. And that is why like my shoulder area hurt. I didn't know exactly what it was, but yeah. So I broke my left collarbone. It really hurt. It hurt so freaking bad. I just remember laying in the bed. My parents ended up showing up to the hospital, and yeah, and we were just talking about how everything that had happened and all that kind of stuff. this was kind of like one of the reasons why I said I hated winter, with one of the bad things happening to me. And this was one of them. So like I'm trying to think of where to go next to me. So they pretty much end up giving me a sling because there was nothing else to like really do about it, and they gave me medicine, and the pain was so bad that they gave me a dose of pain medicine, and it did not work. It did not help my pain whatsoever. And then they doubled the dose, and it still hurt. That doubling the dose still did not take away the pain of my broken collarbone. It was probably one of the worst pains I've ever had. And so I know that we ended up going home. We drove home, and then they like set me up on the couch because I had to sleep like propped up a little bit, so my shoulder and collarbone were propped up. And I just remember getting laid there and then just like passing out just like that. Because like after the, your adrenaline runs out and you're just laying there, and I was just so exhausted, and I just like faded out and just went to sleep for a while. I know one thing what that thing taught me to do is I only wear zip hoodies now, because eventually I did have to take that hoodie off to go take a shower, and it hurt a lot. And when you have an issue like that, it really sucks to where you have to pull it over your head. Had I just had a zip hoodie, it would have been a lot easier. So I only wear zip hoodies now because that was a lesson that made me do that. But yeah, so I mean, that's like mostly it. I spent time healing. I did have a broken collarbone through Christmas. I do remember that, having it like through Christmas, and I was hurt and stuff, and it really kind of sucked. I stayed on the couch most of the time. My dad like pushed it closer to the TV for me to see and do stuff, so it kind of sucked, but it is what it is. I survived, I lived, and everything could have been a lot worse in that bus wreck, but yeah, so that has been how I've gotten into a bus wreck when I was a kid in winter. Like I said, they really should have canceled the roads. Also to mention, that same day, other schools got into bus wrecks. Like an elementary school bus got into a wreck. There were a couple other wrecks that happened from buses. So people really should have canceled school that day. It was crazy, but yeah, I mean, that's about it. Like, there's not much else, Eventually I healed, of course. I actually skateboarded while I had a broken collarbone. It was funny. I guess I'll tell this a little bit. I was skateboarding with my friend, and there's this older kid. He was a couple of years older than us, and he couldn't do a kickflip. And so my friend like sits there and does a kickflip, and he gets upset because he's trying to do one and he can't. And then here I am with a broken collarbone, and I just do a kickflip and land it. And then he gets really mad. He's like, "Are you kidding me? Like you with a broken collarbone are gonna sit here and do this?" But yeah, I was crazy. I still skateboarded with a broken collarbone after. I healed a little bit afterwards, of course, but it still hurt a little bit. And I never actually got hurt from that, which is interesting. Also, another fun fact, I never broke a bone skateboarding, which is interesting. But yeah, so that's mostly what I have to tell about that. If you have any questions, I guess I could answer them or talk about it any more. Like you know what I mean. I'll answer things or talk about it. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, that is, like I said, been how I got into a bus wreck as a kid. I don't think there's anything else. Nope, don't think so. But thank you guys for watching, and thank you guys for listening. I will see you in the next video.